Do you think you have what it takes to succeed in business? Regardless of where you are in your professional journey, you've probably asked yourself that question maybe even more than once. I have, and honestly, I still ask it from time to time. But before you answer this question for yourself, here's something that may surprise you. The average successful entrepreneur is not a 22-year-old in a garage or someone with a 150 IQ. They are often in their 40s, 50s, or even 60s. Some have industry experience while others don't even have a college degree. Some started with a good cash buffer while others put office rent on their personal credit cards. But almost all failed at least once. By the end of this video, you'll know why people start businesses, what traits they possess, the challenges every business faces, and what separates the winners from the rest. That way, you can be someone who actually makes it. I know this because I've been in the industry for over 15 years, earned the top professional designations, and have extensive experience starting, running, and consulting companies. And yes, I did fail at one of my very first startups. So, why do people really start a business? If you've ever been an employee, you've probably had that moment, sitting at your desk, staring at the screen, wondering if taking the leap was worth the risk. In my experience, people often use various excuses to justify starting a business, but underneath, the same core reasons always appear. Some are obvious, but a few might surprise you. To bring those reasons to life, let me introduce you to Jim. He's not just one person, he's a reflection of dozens of stories I've heard over the years. And possibly, as Jim's story unfolds, you may recognize pieces of your own journey within his.
I spent 12 years in corporate. I've climbed the ladder, made good money, but then, I felt empty, trapped.
As you can probably imagine, at the top of the list is usually money. You keep hearing that if you want to be rich, you can stay an employee, but if you want to become really wealthy, you start a business. And I get it. We're all human and most humans want money. We dream of having enough money to buy whatever we want whenever we want it. However, in reality, what I discovered is that most people want the freedom that comes with wealth and the luxury of no longer trading time for a 9-to-5 salary.
Funny thing, I thought I needed money. But the moment I left my job, I realized it was never really about the money at all.
So, if it's not money, what is it? Well, I see a lot of people who have an overall dissatisfaction with the corporate grind. Perhaps they don't like the culture, corporate politics, they feel there is a lack of autonomy, or they've reached the growth ceiling. Toxic office culture, annoying bosses, I'm sure you know what I mean. And the corporate world has tried to adjust to this disdain for office work. As you recall, during the pandemic, work from home was widely accepted, and there's research that says that working from home actually makes us happier. Then there was a hybrid schedule, and now everybody seems to be pushing for a return to the office, or RTO as they call it. Makes you wonder, right? If work from home made us happier, what will RTO do? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. The number 3 reason to start a business is freedom and flexibility. Owning one's time and having the freedom to do what you want daily sounds quite enticing. Having the flexibility to spend time with your family, travel, live the life you choose. And finally, finding that work-life balance you always dreamt of. Sounds amazing, right? But does starting a business actually give you a better work-life balance?
Work-life balance as a business owner? Right.
Now, as we go down the list, the reasons become more profound, more psychological, more fundamental. Number 4 on the list is passion, or following a calling that you have and finding meaning in life. I would love to say that every business owner is passionate about the business they are running, but more often than not, the first 3 factors are driving their efforts, which means they started the business hoping to make money or have more flexibility, or they were just frustrated. But they're not even passionate about what they are doing. And don't get me wrong, businesses succeed without the passion too. There are plenty of boring businesses that can provide stability, flexibility, and plenty of money. But man, if you find passion in what you do, your life will never be the same, trust me. When you love what you do, it no longer feels like work at all. I'll be frank with you. There were weeks in corporate when I worked more than 90 hours and just wished for my misery to end, you know? These days, I could easily work in the same hours, but now I usually find myself wishing there were more hours in the week because I'm passionate about the work I do. It doesn't feel like work to me. And lastly, number 5 reason, some individuals want to build a legacy for their family. They want not only to build generational wealth, but also to create a business that they can pass on to their kids and grandkids, or just make a positive impact on their community or even the world. Do any of these factors speak to you? 1, 2 of them? What about all 5? For Jim, it started with money and frustration. Later, it grew into something much more meaningful. But having a reason isn't the same as having what it takes. So who actually takes the leap? And just as important, who survives when reality kicks in? I'm sure you see, just like I do, all those videos on TikTok and Instagram of kids in their 20s claiming to make millions of dollars a year by doing virtually nothing. Live the life you want, start a business. It makes business success look effortless, almost instant. But in reality, the average founder's story looks nothing like that. As I mentioned earlier, most successful founders are in their mid-30s to late 40s. Not college kids on TikTok, but people with experience, scars, and real responsibilities. Yes, the average successful founder often has some corporate experience or industry expertise. But beyond that, it's a mixed bag. Some founders are immigrants driven by opportunity, while others are third-generation locals. Some have college degrees and come from wealthy families, others have neither. Some grew up around entrepreneurs, others had parents who were teachers, managers, programmers, nurses.
My dad, my dad is a truck driver, believe it or not, and my mom is a bookkeeper.
So with all these differences, what do successful entrepreneurs actually have in common? It's not their background as much as it is their psychological traits that they have in common. Their mentality. What really matters are traits like being able to take risks, wanting independence, solving problems under pressure, and staying calm when things are unclear. But above all, a founder needs resilience and grit. So yes, business owners are risk takers and they are okay with facing challenges because they see the reward, not the pain. Because there will be pain. The business road is not a walk in the park. The brutal truth nobody thinks about when starting a business, or at least doesn't think about it seriously enough, is that most businesses do fail. 70% fail within 10 years. And some reports suggest that the actual rate is as high as 90%. Median small business owner income is often lower than they expected or hoped for. Business ownership isn't always freedom. It can be more stress, not less. And there are many other problems we'll discuss next. Once an individual decides to start or buy a business, what can go wrong, right?
Well, pretty much everything that can go wrong will go wrong, trust me.
There are many real challenges to running a business, and I have an entire video dedicated to the 7 critical errors. You can watch it next. However, let me touch on some key points here. Ultimately, companies fail because entrepreneurs either decide not to continue operating the company or they are forced out of business. Let's first discuss why a business owner might just walk away. One of the challenges that exhaust entrepreneurs is operational. As you start a business, problems start. As you grow in scale, so do your operational challenges. They become bigger and more serious. This could include the struggles of finding and keeping good people because you can't do everything yourself. And since you can't clone yourself, who can you trust? How do you find employees you feel confident about? How do you retain them? How do you make sure they don't make costly mistakes? After all, you have to remember that your clients pay you for the products and services provided consistently and reliably. But since you can't be everywhere at once, what if your team doesn't deliver what you promised to your client? Well, guess what? A client will get upset.
I remember one time we really screwed up. The client was so upset, and I was just too exhausted to deal with them.
But if you don't fix the problem quickly, they will get even more upset. They will spare no energy to make their problems known to you because to them, it feels like a broken promise. Bad reviews will start popping up and every review cuts so deep. If you have a business, I'm sure you know what it feels like. Just one unhappy customer can cause more damage than 10 or even 15 happy customers can reverse. The longer you wait to address a problem with an unhappy customer, the bigger the issue usually becomes. Especially in the early stages, it's usually on you to fix all problems before you learn to prevent them or train your team to fix your problems for you. One of the other challenges is market realities. Many individuals start a business because they see other people succeeding in a given industry. And they think they can succeed too, but the real world is harsh. If it's a lucrative market, competition is fierce. And if it's a brand new niche, you have no idea whether it will even work. Then your customers' preferences shift, competitors come up with new ways to do things, and suddenly what worked yesterday might not even work tomorrow. And you're left asking yourself, is this a trend I should adapt to, or just a temporary blip I can ignore? Is the product I'm now selling something people will care about in 1 or 2 years from now? Is my business model bulletproof? Yes, you must research your industry and pay attention to the trends, but what's more important is focusing on the person you're selling a product to, not the product itself. If you understand your clients, their needs, and what drives them, trends won't matter as much to you because you will be aware of any shifts before they make your brand irrelevant. The world is not just a static place, and in business, you must always stay on your toes.
It just never stops, you know? Never stops.
The challenge that no one on social media will tell you is that owning a business comes with a massive personal toll. Even your business is booming and you're a successful business owner, it all comes with a cost. And a huge cost is to your personal life. You've probably heard the expression, it's lonely to be at the top. There's massive stress, isolation, and frequent burnout. It can be constant or come in ebbs and flows. But it's also hard to find a good work-life balance and to establish boundaries with employees, friends, and family. Your personal relationships can suffer. With all the stress, shifting market dynamics, and isolation, many entrepreneurs start missing the stability of a regular job and choose to walk away from their companies. Having a strong support system can make all the difference as it helps you navigate the pressure and make clearer, more informed decisions. But up until now, we've talked about the factors that influence your decision to stay in business or not. Sometimes there may not even be a choice.
My wife was supportive, but I could see the worry in her eyes when I left my job, and she was right. Things got pretty bad.
The sad reality, as I mentioned before, is the majority of businesses fail. Of course, we cannot discuss a business failure without mentioning money. Starting a business requires money, regardless of its size. Yes, some businesses can be started with as little as $0, but you still need the money to support yourself while you're just starting up. Other startups require millions in funding. However, no matter the size, ultimately it's usually the money, or lack of money, that destroys a company. You might have the cure to cancer or the prototype of a flying car, but if there's no money to test trial your drug or build your flying car, are they not just ideas? You might be waiting on a client to pay a $50,000 invoice, or maybe you're in talks with investors or lenders to get financing, but until you have the money, you don't have the money. And what if you don't have enough money to service your debt or pay your team? What's worse, entrepreneurs usually become very committed to their companies, not just emotionally, but also financially. And they don't give up that easily. For many founders, their business is their life's meaning, their hope for financial freedom. And as you know, hope is the last thing we want to lose. So trying to salvage a failing company, entrepreneurs would go through their savings first, then personal loans, refinance a house, and then use up every other source of cash they can find.
We canceled all our trips and then maxed out our credit cards. That was the darkest period of our lives.
Sometimes, the cash shortfall is due to poor planning and a lack of a sufficient cash buffer. That's why it's important not to underestimate how much money you need to ensure you always have a financial buffer that your business can access. It could also be a problem of not reading or understanding your financial statements. In one of my videos where I explain how to read and understand your financials, I shared a story about another business owner, Joe. He encountered the exact same problem. Revenue rich yet cash broke. If you haven't seen that video, you can watch it next. But a business could also be shut down because of violating some laws or regulations, so it's essential to have your paperwork done by a qualified lawyer. Now, listening to this section and all these problems, you might be asking yourself, is it even worth it? But let me tell you something. Since you're still watching this video, it already shows that you're not easily scared. You value knowledge even if it could be unpleasant to hear, and that is one of the qualities that separates those who do succeed from those who don't. So, from the businesses that fail and those that succeed, what sets them apart? What will surprise you is that those are the things you're not born with. It's something successful entrepreneurs develop.
For a long time, I had that imposter syndrome, always feeling like a fraud. But you know what? It goes away eventually.
From my experience, success is defined by 5 traits that can be learned and developed. And the last ability on this list is perhaps the most important one. So let's start with number 1, which is strong execution ability. Ideas are not worth much without execution. I can't tell you how many people have told me they have the next big idea, but have done absolutely nothing about it. The world does need more ideas, but it needs even more people who can execute on them. There's actually an interesting statistic about podcasts. Roughly 95% of people who want to start a podcast never begin. And out of those 5% who started a podcast, more than 80% have fewer than 3 episodes, and less than 1% have more than 20 episodes. So it's 0.05% of those who wanted to start a podcast actually made it past the 20-episode mark. Number 2 is sales and marketing skills. You must be able to sell. Whether it's selling your product to customers, your vision to investors, or your opportunity to potential employees, if you can't sell, your business will not prosper. But before you sell, you need leads, somebody to sell your products to. And without marketing, you simply have no eyes looking at you, no leads. So learning about marketing is as critical as being able to convert those leads into customers.
One time, I was going door to door in my neighborhood selling my stuff. Silly, huh? But it does build character.
Number 3 is financial literacy and planning. You need to know your numbers inside and out. What are your margins? What's your break-even point? How much cash do you burn each month and how much more do you need? If you don't understand the financial side of your business, you're flying blind. Remember the cash flow problem we discussed earlier? This can stem from financial illiteracy or poor planning, both of which can be addressed. I have multiple videos on this topic available on this channel, so check them out. And number 4 is listening. The market will tell you what it wants, and it's not always what you think it is. The most successful entrepreneurs I know have pivoted at least once, sometimes multiple times. Sometimes that's all they do. So your ability to listen and use that feedback proactively will differentiate you from somebody who's fixed in their old way and somebody who succeeds. And that feedback will not be just from your clients. As a matter of fact, it's not always easy to get feedback from people you need that feedback from the most. People are busy and they also don't want to be perceived as critical or complaining. So you just learn from anybody who offers advice. And speaking of advice, I'm always very open to your comments. If you liked or didn't like anything about this video in particular, please let me know. I would really appreciate your feedback. And number 5, the mother and father of it all is resilience and grit. This is about surviving what many call the valley of death, the period where everything seems to be going wrong and you question every decision you've made. Every successful entrepreneur has been through this valley, some multiple times. The difference isn't that winners don't feel the pain or doubt, they absolutely do. The difference is that they don't let those feelings decide for them to quit. I've seen brilliant people give up right before their breakthrough. It usually gets worse before it gets better. Sometimes it gets much worse. And some entrepreneurs give up just before they see the light at the end of their tunnel. When your biggest client cancels, when your key employee quits, when the bank rejects your loan, your response to these moments determines everything. And your resilience and grit will dictate if you tell yourself, screw it, I'm done. Or you say, oh well, and just keep going. What's interesting, resilience and grit aren't about having superhuman willpower, but about believing in yourself and just taking the next step on your action plan, no matter what life throws at you.
Back then, I would lose my sleep over one angry client email. These days, I deal with it, fix it, and move on.
So, what do you think? Can you relate to Jim and his journey? You see, business success is not about having a revolutionary idea or being a natural-born entrepreneur with the right DNA. It's actually about developing the right skills and having the right mindset, believing in yourself and having persistence to keep going when things get tough. The most empowering part is that anyone can develop these traits, but it takes time and commitment. The key is never giving up and constantly learning from failures and hopefully others. So, do you have what it takes to succeed in business? Can you succeed? Well, at the end of the day, only you can answer that question. But
as the saying goes, if you say you can, and if you say you cannot, you are right either way.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the channel, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video.